Guests and brethren, charity and benevolence are issues, virtues that are very close to the hearts of Freemasonry and go to the very core of our fraternity. They really are the central plank of our interaction with our communities and the charities that we hope to support. And therefore the role of a charity steward is obviously very important, it's very key. But this office didn't really come with any job description or terms of reference, save that the one that all charity stewards have, which is to support our charitable giving. My predecessors, Stewart, Tony Den and John Grumbridge, will tell you that it's actually all about administration. How many plates can you keep spinning? And sadly, yes, a few do fall. So it's about really your time. So when the alarm goes off in the morning, it's very much a scene of Wallace and Gromit. You know, we sort of poured out of bed into the shower, shaved and into a suit and out the door, with just a bit of time to ponder why people think I look like Peter Hagger in the mirror. So by 6:45 I'm at my desk with a Costa's coffee in hand, the computer screen flickers to life and the inbox starts to ping with all the emails that come through. Now, brethren, why is it? I've got two questions. Does insomnia just affect Freemasons, or is it just charity stewards? And why is it when you tire of counting sheep, or the money you've got in your relief chest, do you turn to fiendish and devilish questions about gift aid and send them at 2 o'clock in the morning? Because my inbox is a testament to both of those things. And it's probably also a testament to the fact that over the last 50 years or so since we've had charity stewards, the office of a charity steward has developed greatly. Where once all you had to do was know about the aims and objectives of the four, well in those days it was 3 central masonic charities, and to run the occasional raffle, now we expect a great deal more of you. We ask you to organise social events and fundraise, maintain audited accounts and records, know about tax efficient ways of giving money, and then lastly to be able to promulgate that information to the brethren, and also about where we are with the festival and where we stand with our charitable giving. I don't think we perhaps do enough for you in that regard. We certainly host seminars for charity stewards around the province, and are indebted to Dave Pugh for arranging those. Recently we had one in Dover that Bob Ailing, who can't be with us today, organised. And at that we started to roll out a national document. Now in this province we've been quite fortunate because over the years we've had charity stewards handbooks. And this one is a national document. We're very pleased that we had a co-author, was Stuart Coe. And yes, don't look skyward, it's a very good document. It's a number of things. It's certainly got a foundation, the core information that charity stewards need in order to do their work. It certainly points out that they're not expected to do everything on day one, so it develops their skills and abilities, and also it's a reference document. You can put additional and up-to-date information in, particularly in relation to things such as gift aid, and it also has copies, examples of accounts that you should keep, etc. It's a very good handbook. Every charity steward in the province should have a personalised hard copy. There's also copies of it electronically on the Provincial website and the Grand Charity website, so please have a look at it. It's a really good document. I recommend it to you. And I apologise, brethren, because I've had a bit of the lurgy, so a little drink as well. Developing that theme of helping charity stewards, we're going to have our inaugural Charity Stewards Dinner on the 14th of March. Now, invites have gone out to all of the charity stewards and to the executive as well. But brethren, if there's any of you here that wish to come along, please, it's going to be at the St George's Hotel. Chris Watson is actually looking after the bookings for that. It's limited at this stage to 110 people, and it is selling out, so but it would be really good to see all of you there if you can make it. And we've actually got a guest speaker that night, who is Sahel Lalan, who's the Business and Finance Director of the Freemasons Grand Charity, to talk about where the Central Masonic charities are going to next. The other thing that my inbox contains, and I do send and receive several thousand emails each month now, which for those of you that know, I've got a new email address, the Provincial Grand Charity Steward. That's purely because, although Sky say, oh, unlimited email, they actually do have a fair usage policy and they say that I've exceeded it. So I'm having to use several email accounts these days in order to get that information out. Typically, I have a few emails regarding events that are going on. Those of you, Mark Bassett and Ray Hubbard, around the Panto, really shows Freemasonry in the heart of the community, and the fact you don't actually have to ever wear a frock, Roger, in order to achieve it. I think the image of 500 excited and very excited children that afternoon being marshalled by Jim Mason and other stewards, or trying to be marshalled by Jim Mason and other stewards. Often disadvantaged children who had an absolutely wonderful time there. You know, really, that's real Freemasonry in the heart of the community. Very, very well done. Other things, I'm very fortunate in that we have Proms of the Province. Freemasonry and charity is not all about putting your hands in your pocket. It's about giving that most valuable of your time, your valuable commodity. And we have a team of group of Freemasons who've never organised an event before. We've got the core of the band of the Royal Engineers coming to do Proms in the Province. I think it's 27th of July next year. And Rob Spinks is supervising the efforts for that. It's a real family entertainment. And also Tom Sutton, who's doing the Winter Warmer 3 at the Mercure Hotel on the 8th of February. I should thank here the brethren from the province, the symbolic penalties, the entertainers who give their time for free and make sure that we actually achieve a great deal in terms of not only enjoyment but actually raising money as well. And that actually keeps our treasurer Phil Lumley very, very busy indeed. But on this particular day, one of the things that I'm doing is actually one of the privileges I have, which is to go to represent this province on the Council of the Freemasons Grand Charity. Now, about a week beforehand, a pile of papers arrive. It's about 4 or 5 inches thick. Typically, about 150 so cases are looked at each month and assessed. They come with financial assessments, they come with appraisals, but brethren, they're heartbreaking. The stories of those brethren in need and distress is truly sobering, and there, but for the grace of God, go many of us, I can assure you. Now, over the last 32 years or so since it was established, the Freemasons Grand Charity has given away about £110 million. We've had about £50 million to non-Masonic, and the remainder to non-Masonic, the remainder to Masonic grants. And that's why we have to look at these numbers as we do. We sit down about 9 o'clock in the morning and go through the day's the papers for that morning. Last occasion was 146 individual applications, of which the vast majority were approved. By lunchtime, we've increased the spend for Masonic grants to £4.5 million for 2012. 58 of those are in this province alone, and they receive about £150,000 a year. So that £2,300, which is the average, isn't a vast sum, but it makes a great difference to those that actually receive it. It means all the difference between survival and being below the poverty line. In 2013, that is due to increase, we think, to about £4.8 million. When we sit down with the papers, I have to tell you there is no budget, there's no cap, so, you know, no genuine case of need is ever rejected. We are not limited by the amount we spend. Gloomily, the predictions from the financial advisors are that before the end of this recession, that will increase, well, the money we need to cover just Masonic relief grants will increase to about £6.5 million over the next few years. But there are various committees, and once we finish with the Masonic relief grants, I like to go to the non-Masonic side. Now, the non-Masonic side does have a budget. It's about £2.5 million for 2012, and it's going to be the same for 2013. I won't go through all of the money that we've given away on those sides, but we'll concentrate on the hospice grants, which you've heard were about £600,000 and were actually dealt with at the last meeting. 239 hospices, many of them in this province. One of the other things we actually had when we looked at the amount we gave to hospices this time was a report on how we divide that cake up. Just so you know, we only give money to those, I think it's that receive less than 60% of their funding from government and health services, and we give an amount per bed. So it's a per capita, per bed amount, and then there is a set sum for outreach and for daycare. But there's actually at the moment, there's no qualification around how many people are actually helped through those hospices, and that's something we're looking at for future years. Do we actually divide the money up around the number of people helped as opposed to the number of beds, which is the main criteria? We also have, because it's a year end, a slight underspend of £145,000, and we allocated that money to a number of charities, £20,000 here in East Kent. The thing is that day alone, we actually had 67 applications for £1 million worth of grants. So we had to turn down, I think, about 62 of them. That means there's a huge need in our communities. And it also means that we are often those that are turned to provide that relief and that assistance. In the afternoon, there is the council itself and a paper around the consideration of what happens to the four central charities. As you know, they've been co-located a couple of years ago in the basement, or the charity floor as it's called, at Great Queen Street, and there are certainly a lot more cooperation there. Together they spend about £30 million a year, which means that they are, Masonic charities are certainly larger than the Stroke Association, Mind, and in financial terms, even the Salvation Army. So it's quite a substantial enterprise that is there. The recommendations aren't really that much of a change, but there is certainly recognised that we have a commitment to our brethren and to the charities that we serve to make sure that our overheads are reduced, there's better collaboration, better ways of working. Some of the things that, just so you know, that are up for consideration at the moment are the Freemasons Grand Charity provides money for medical research. Should that be transferred to the Samaritan Fund? Children's hospices, should that money be allocated instead from the girls and boys? So better ways of working and making sure that our money goes as far as possible. There's also at the Grand Council an update on what's happened in the past, and one of the ones that we recently heard was in 2010 you donated £100,000 to assist with the clinical trials of a drug to help multiple sclerosis, and they've actually been successful, and that's going forward to be licensed this year. And then obviously said that. So that's, you know, another example of where your money goes and the good work that it does. Lastly, there was a sobering report from the Finance Committee. I'm not allowed to sit on that because I'm part of Barclays Bank, so I'm not allowed to sit on the investments and the not because it's Barclays, but any banking on that side of things. As the Freemasons Grand Charity, that's the working title, you have to understand that all of our money comes from Freemasons and their dependents. We're not cute, we're not fluffy, there's no groundswell of public opinion that sends money to Great Queen Street. We don't have celebrities endorse us, and our Deputy Provincial Grand Master and other members of the executive certainly don't appear in magazines, well, not yet anyway. So we are entirely funded by Freemasons and their dependents. We are entirely reliant on Masonic Union. And you all contribute, this year, a levy of £17 per head that goes towards that. Now that's £17 per head. It's gone up £1 this year, actually brings in £3.7 million. But I've already told you that Masonic relief grants are going to be £4.8 million this year. Where once we had a festival system which supported the Central Masonic charities and evened out the peaks and troughs and maintained prestigious awards, the festival has gone from being a nicety to a necessity. Without the festival system now, we would not have enough money to pay for Masonic relief grants. So quite rightly, the thrust of this province at the moment is around the 2014 festival. And I'm helped greatly in that regard by the Provincial Charity Committee. Now, I think established by the foresight of John Grumbridge about 15 years or so ago, John. These individuals are really the backbone of charitable giving in this province. We meet about once a month. We're blessed with a number of talented and respected Masons. We meet often over a curry, which is something I've sadly introduced. In addition to those already mentioned, I should read out the other names of those who are involved: Stan Donald, Matt Cheeseman, Arthur, good to see you, Arthur, Dave Barden, Tyrone Ripley, John Jones, Derry Clements, and Brian Powell as well. And Dick Barden, I should say. In 2008, we asked lodges and chapters how much the Brethren and Companions would be able to donate towards the 2014 festival. And you responded with a marvellous £3 million. And I'm pleased to tell you that we have now breached £2.6 million on the way to that, meeting that necessary amount that I've told you about. The Provincial Charity Committee agenda currently has things such as the festival closing. We've already chosen a date. It's going to be the 28th of June 2014. John and Tyrone have put together a paper for the Provincial Grand Master around the venues where we can hold and the theme that we can have for that closing. We're not blessed with very many decent venues in. We're not blessed with very many venues across the province. The Provincial Grand Master was particularly keen that it was held in the province so that it was accessible both in geographical and financial terms to the brethren that have actually contributed towards the festival. One of the problems we have is there are not very many centres that are big enough to cope with the numbers, and as soon as you go away from those centres and you go outside to perhaps places such as Detling or the cruise terminals down at Dover and have outside catering come in, the costs go up exorbitantly. The Provincial Grand Master was given a paper on the venues that are suitable, a short list of those just before Christmas, and hopefully that will be announced where that venue will be in the next couple of weeks. Brethren, these are challenging times. I am so very pleased that you've been able to support us in order to achieve that £2.6 million and also have that lifeline of support to your local charities and your local communities as well. At the moment, projected about half of the lodges and chapters, just over half the lodges and chapters, will receive a Provincial Grand Master's Award, and I'm indebted to Dick Barton for actually producing and sending those awards out to lodges. Many of you now proudly wear the festival jewel. Indeed, this lodge, including David when he remembers his, 1,300 of these have now been issued, so thank you very much for supporting and showing your support and commitment to the festival. So worn and weary, I make my way home and I ask my wife if she's actually sent these out, because she actually does most of the administration and sends those out. And worn and weary, I do look in the mirror, and that's when I realise why I do look a bit like Peter Haggard, or he looks like me. Brethren, in recalling my day, please realise that the efforts of the Office of Provincial Charity Steward are actually performed by you all, without whose loyalty and dedication our almoners can't do their work. And in that regard, I'm also indebted to Mike G, because for the last year or so while we're doing this job, it's surprising the interaction that Mike and I have in order to progress our charities. Brethren, we're not complacent about where we stand and the need to get another £400,000 in the next year or so. Please accept my personal thanks for your contribution and your commitment. Many of the people we've heard about today, and we've had some marvellous examples, you know where your money now goes. They don't always have a voice, and they're not always able to thank you, so on their behalf, thank you very much. Thank you.